Yeah, Nazis are pretty f***ing gay.
Yeah.
Lady in the Trans podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science. Science will solve all the problems. That's the trans agenda.
Trans people in science gonna save the day.
Solve the problems with us. With science. Science, bitch.
Science and my trans agenda, I'm gonna turn you trans.
Audio, video,
And
audio.
we're rolling.
We're rolling.
Audio killed the video. Audio.
I was
Kill
singing Audio Video Disco by Daft Punk.
Oh, I was singing Audio Killed the Video Star.
I know. Because you didn't know what I was singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was singing either, so.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome.
Lady in the Trans podcast. I'm Lady.
And I'm Chloe.
And I'm Laura.
Yay.
And I am trans. Just kidding. Or am I?
We don't know. You don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
It's impossible.
No one knows shit about my life.
Somebody's trans. This is the Lady and the Trans podcast, which we took a little flack for on the internet, but
Oh, yeah,
that seemed to have died down a bit.
Yeah.
I think people have laid off
Yeah.
the old hatred.
Yeah, I think there's like worse things happening in the world right now than the name of our podcast.
I think so. That was my main point. But anyway, so today, as you probably know from the title of the episode, we are diving into the Lost City of Atlantis.
Which is a great movie, by the way. And the two main characters are hot.
That's true. That movie,
Why did they make so many
Is
kids shows with hot
top to
cartoons?
bottom hot characters.
So
There's
hot.
nobody in that movie who's not hot.
There are some people that
I
are
mean,
hot.
maybe a couple of the side characters, but
the
like,
main characters, the dude with the glasses and the hot chick with the hair.
yeah. And even
And
the
the
like,
bangs.
the like blonde villainy chick.
Oh yeah, she's fine
She's
as
pretty
fuck.
fine, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about the actual Atlantis.
Yes, not the-
assuming that there is an actual Atlantis, which we will dive into
Yes.
today. But you ain't wrong. Maybe we'll watch that movie after this. Fuck it.
I'm so down.
I need some cartoon fetish stuff in my life again. It's been a minute. All we keep getting is all these. What's the last animated movie to come out? Fixed, about horny dogs.
Oh, that's right. The trailer made it look like it was going to be funny and like real good, and you said it wasn't
It's
that good,
very
huh?
mid. It's very mid.
Disappointing.
And then like the last Pixar movie was Elio, which is about a little boy and aliens. Ain't nobody hot in that movie.
Yeah, what?
Anyway,
I want to see sexy
I-
Atlanteans.
I also do. So other than that movie, like how much did y'all talk about Atlantis in school or like in childhood? Like was Atlantis like a fascination with you? I had a couple friends who were like obsessed with the concept of Atlantis.
So you know how my mom is like one of those hippie crystal ladies, like
I do, yeah.
in like kind of, oh man, I hate talking about it sometimes. So like my mom would talk about Atlantis a lot.
Okay.
Because it would, you know, those like crazy spiritual people that are definitely in like spiritual psychosis and they think like everything is all interconnected and like aliens and everything was an alien and that the people of Atlantis were aliens and the Egyptians were aliens and everything's aliens.
Yes.
Yeah. So my mom.
Okay, can we very quickly, just because you brought it up, can we just mention that every single one of those theories is incredibly racist?
Yes. So I didn't realize that until a few years ago. There was this like hippie crystal girl with like dreadlocks that was making music on TikTok like around COVID. And people were ripping her to shreds. And she had one song where she was talking about like, we all came from aliens and they like built the pyramids. And there were like people in the comment section being like, this is like a white supremacist talking point, whatever. And I like did a deep dive on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because it's like, nobody says aliens built like ancient Rome, but they do say aliens built
the
everything in
pyramids.
Africa,
Yeah.
everything in South America,
Yeah.
everything in North America. Anything that a non-white culture built, people have a theory that it was aliens.
Yeah.
And it's like it's just because they're trying to downplay the intelligence of non-white people.
Yeah, I was gonna say they like to play into the idea that like people in Africa, for example, all lived in mud huts, and like they were never able to like progress past that because they're inferior. It like comes from like that way of thinking.
Yeah.
So
you're saying your mom was obsessed with Atlantis?
she was obsessed with a lot of strange things, but she would have phases of like thinking we had past lives in this ancient civilization. And yeah, I remember when that movie came
she
out.
like thought y'all were native, right?
Yeah,
She
like
made
she
you
didn't.
do a bunch of like Native American rituals and ceremonies, and
We might need to cut this part out too because
not
it's
cutting
embarrassing.
this.
Okay.
It's so funny.
Oh, it's so
I've
embarrassing.
seen some photos, y'all.
I don't know if I have pictures from it, but I have my basket of stuff from the ceremony if you ever want to look at my stuff that I made.
Love to.
But yeah, it's
Didn't you show me a photo?
from the young maiden ceremony. No.
Oh, maybe you just described it so vividly that I created an image in my head,
Yeah.
especially if you showed me some of the stuff.
I remember too, like, so we had to make this like dress for it. Like you had to hand make your own dress. And we got to pick out the fabric, and I wanted a black dress because I was like super goth in high school, and I was like, if you're gonna make me do the stupid shit I don't want to do, I'm gonna like get the dress that I want. She got in an argument and she was like, you're not gonna wear all black in this, like I won't allow it, you have to pick another color. We got in a huge fight about it, and I ended up picking a purple dress with like little swirly things on it because it was like my second favorite color. And yeah, that ceremony wasn't about me. It was all about my mom.
Yeah.
And like I did that ceremony with a couple of like childhood friends that I still know to this day. So like I do have like good memories from it, but like after I became an adult and like met some actual native people and have, like I'm like, oh, this was like kind of a fucked up thing to do and probably has bad energy tied to it because
I can almost guarantee you that just about everyone who's ever done something racist like that has good memories associated with it.
yeah. Well, and I was a kid. I was like 12, 13. I didn't know what was going on.
Exactly.
know?
You're just like, oh, cool. Like, I'm pretty sure I dressed as a Native American for like our Mayflower production
Yeah.
in Catholic school. Almost guaranteed we were all dressed like Native people.
Yeah, and at this time, I didn't know any like Native kids. Like, I wasn't friends with Native kids. Like I was friends with like Hispanic people and stuff like that. But like, I didn't know any Native Americans, so no one was there to like be like, "Hey, you can't do this." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not even people doing the ceremony for us.
That's so crazy. All right. So Atlantis was, or maybe wasn't, or probably was, the reason we know about it, the reason we talk about it, the reason people are fascinated by it is because it starts showing up in documents written by Plato,
Yes.
the Greek philosopher who was born in somewhere between 428 and 423 BCE. Mm-hmm. He was born rich and Athenian, which matters because of the way the story is written. Essentially, the story was that Atlantis was this like massive, rich, colonizing force that had taken over many places in the Mediterranean, and they were finally thwarted by Athens, which is basically fanfic because Plato was Athenian and they had no record or knowledge of anything in Atlantis. So he was doing like a thought experiment of what might happen if the Atlantean people had showed up in Athens. And he was like, well, we are the best place, Athens. We are so smart. We are so rich. We are so cool.
Is that what he sounded like? For
I don't
real?
know what he sounded
I
like.
believe it. That's what he fucking sounded like.
We are probably the best
We are so
people.
cool.
We are so cool.
I am Plato.
I am Plato.
I am from Athens. I am so cool.
I am the coolest person.
I have a giant beard. I am cool. I'm from Athens.
I sit around and think all day.
And people pay me to do that. I'm so cool.
Yeah. And the only reason he knew about Atlantis was because it had been talked about by Egyptians. Egyptians passed on the information about Atlantis. Plato discovered it, and he decided to write this fanfic, basically, about what would happen if... And Athens was like I mean, it was basically like the modern day United States of America.
I do hear the traffic sucks there. My old vocal coach was from Athens, Greece, and she said driving there is a bitch.
I believe that.
So I could see that based on modern day Athens.
I don't know much about what their politics or whatever that's going on there right now, but I know that during the time of Plato, it was a patriarchy, it was a caste system, it was a democracy if you were a man who was born there. For everyone else, you were not allowed to own land, you were not allowed to hold political office, you did have to fight in the military, but it was organized by citizens, the medics or the medics, I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that, who were free foreigners, and then slaves.
Okay.
Those were the three classes.
And then the women were just slaves to their husbands'
Yeah, so women were just whatever their dads and husbands said.
property. Yeah.
Their job was basically take care of the house,
I feel like that's everywhere in
pretty much.
modern human history.
But like
Patriarchy.
the United States specifically sort of founded itself on the thoughts and the principles of Athens. Like the founding fathers like studied it and worshiped it and loved it. So like when they built and designed the United States, they were building it and designing it off of the Athenians. So patriarchal democracy that excludes women, foreigners, and slaves is absolutely convinced of its own moral superiority and perfection, and is based around the concepts of land ownership, slave labor, and importing goods. I could be describing either place.
Yeah.
They're like basically the same.
The same thing, yeah.
Yeah. So he heard about Atlantis, and his first thought was, "Oh well, we'd beat them." Like,
Yeah.
so I'll write this whole book called the Cretius, or the Cretius,
The Cretius.
the Cretius,
The Cretius.
which is just basically the story of Atlantis, like showing up in Athens and getting like curb stomped.
Oh, so he made up a fictional story about them like beating them in battle,
Correct.
basically?
Yes. He created a fictional story about them showing up in Athens, getting dominated, retreating back to their place, and immediately being punished by a giant earthquake that sank them to the bottom of the ocean.
Men are so pathetic.
Forever daring challenge Athens. But like stories about Atlantis existed before Plato heard about them or before Plato wrote about them. But because as we know about imperial forces, the first thing they do when they take over a place is erase all the history. So he's hearing about this long after the fact. If it was a real place, he's hearing about this long after the fact because, 9,000 years of colonizers coming in and taking over places, blah, blah, blah. Story gets relegated to legend. Eventually, only people who were like very familiar with the place would still be talking about it. And the people who were still talking about it were the Egyptians and the Arabs.
Okay.
And like basically nobody else. The Cretius also is a sequel to a book called the Timaeus, which is essentially Plato trying to write a story of the creation of the universe. It's sort of his position of what could have happened. Basically, there was a divine, well-meaning, benevolent craftsperson called the Demiurge that brought order to chaos by imitating the forms. And the forms is a theory that Plato invented himself as an answer to the question of universals, which is basically, should properties of objects, like their color or their shape, count as existing if they are separate from the object?
Repeat that for me again.
Yeah.
What?
So like this microphone is black
Yes.
and tubular,
Tubular A.
right? It's like a tube. It's tubular.
What are you,
shut
like
up.
a surfer in the 80s? In Santa Monica, just like,
Yeah, bro.
tubular, bro.
Tubular. Have you ever heard of Atlantis, bro?
It's fucking tubular. Oh.
Make you experience high tide. Oh.
I don't know why that was so funny. You know
don't
what?
either.
I used to say tubular when I was a kid because I used to watch Rocket Power on Nickelodeon all the time.
Yeah. Woogity woogity woogity.
Yeah, woo. Tubular.
Tubular. So the question is basically like, does the concept of something being black and tubular exist if this object doesn't exist? Like, if there is nothing that is black and tubular, can you say that there is such a thing as black or tubular?
Okay, I see.
Right? It's like this fundamental question. And so his answer was the theory of forms, which is the theory that our physical reality is less real than our concepts of reality.
Okay. So, like, if something is black and tubular, hypothetically speaking,
then something will exist that is black and tubular. So essentially his idea was that, like, before there was anything, there were ideas, there were concepts,
okay,
and all of the matter in the universe
came about because of a concept somebody had.
it formed because the concepts also exist outside of us. Like, we didn't create the concepts. We don't have the ideas. The ideas exist, and then matter shapes itself to try its best to recreate the ideas. And then we are born and we stumble into a world that has already been shaped into the ideas, and then we make sense of it and name everything.
Okay.
Basically, the first book in this was supposed to be a trilogy, but he died before the third book was ever written, or he wrote it and it was lost forever. We're not 100% sure. But the first book was about the demiurge taking all of the matter and forcing it to become the ideas, forcing it into the shapes of the forms.
Okay.
The second book was about Atlantis trying to take over Athens. Who fucking knows what the third book would have been?
So he went from like a strange Big Bang Theory sort of to like Greece and Atlantis fighting a hypothetical battle that didn't happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally. I heard about this place from the Egyptians, and it
I'm
sounded
gonna make
cool.
up a story where we kick their asses.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So it was historical fanfic about a legend from another culture that we as white people probably either, if we did hear about it, dismissed or ignored or said was a lie, whatever, the way that history is lost over time. Plato said that Atlantis existed in the year like roughly 9,000 BC. Egypt says that it wasn't quite that long ago, so we're not 1,000,000% sure, but essentially the idea is that earthquakes sank the island into the sea and ended the civilization.
Yeah.
That's like the one commonality of anyone who ever talks about Atlantis.
What did the Egyptians write about it? Because you said he had gotten all of his information from the ancient Egyptians before.
So they didn't write about it. He gathered it, or they did write about it and it was lost or destroyed.
Okay.
Or it's hiding in a secret compartment in one of the pyramids that we haven't uncovered. Who knows?
Was it like word of mouth that he got from?
It was from talking to them, yeah.
Okay.
Greece was doing business with Egypt, especially if he was a higher up Athenian figure. He was born into wealth. He was encountering the higher up Egyptians.
Yeah.
And the higher up Egyptians were probably the people who were passing on stories and legends and history.
Yeah.
And so if he's meeting with those specific people, they're like, oh, yeah. There used to be a place called Atlantis.
Yeah.
It was this great empire, but they all died. And he'd be like, oh, that's interesting. And then the Egyptians go back to Egypt, and he's like, I will write a book about how we are better than them.
Yeah.
I simply must.
I can't believe humanity's made it this far with men running it.
Honestly.
I'm gonna write a fictional story about how my empire beat the shit out of this empire and that didn't actually happen, but it sounds fun.
Here's the thing. We didn't get this far by men running it. We got this far by men thinking they're running it, and women,
they have a wife telling them what to do.
Doing all of the work.
Yeah, and then
It's
they
still
take credit
women
for it.
mostly following the men's ideas, but doing it in
But women being like, this is stupid, do it this way or it's gonna not work. Yes.
Yes. And probably also saying also there's this other idea that you haven't thought of that would be way better, and him being like, well, fuck that idea then, and we'll never do it. In fact, I'll make sure it never happens ever.
Yeah. Well, the way you make a dude do something is make him think it was his idea.
Right.
And I'm sure most women did that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it in my family, in every family in my family.
Yep.
But yeah, that's basically what I have about Atlantis.
Okay.
There's been many people in the years since, especially like Europeans and Americans and like conspiracy theorists and whoever who have been trying to determine whether or not it was actually a real place. A lot of sort of the scholarly people have decided that it was literally just a thing that
made-up
Plato
thing.
completely made up, but it hasn't stopped many, many, many people from trying to find it. Also, he did state the location, sort of where Atlantis was, which was beyond the Pillars of Heracles. Mm-hmm. And the Pillars of Heracles is basically just the Strait of Gibraltar.
What is the Strait of Gibraltar?
That is the little opening to the Mediterranean Sea in between like the north part of Africa and the bottom of Spain. It's just this tiny little thing. I mean, it's not tiny, but it's like tiny compared to the sea or the ocean that that it connects. It's just this little path, and on either side there's these giant rocks, and they had a legend that Hercules put those there.
Okay, and it's beyond the pillars of that.
So basically, if you just go straight out of the Mediterranean into the Atlantic Ocean, it was supposed to just be that way.
That leads me into... So my family is from the Azores.
What the fuck is an Azore, Laura?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now.
Oh, please do.
It is the place that birthed me. Or, well, way back then, my ancestors, and then I got here. But based on Plato's writing and also other philosophers from that time, the theory is the Azores are the landmass that sank, that was Atlantis. They're volcanic islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. They're almost exactly 1,000 miles, equal distance from like North Africa, like the US and Canada and all of that. They're like kind of center. They're very small volcanic islands, and they sit on the mid-Atlantic ridge.
They sure do.
It's a geologically active zone, and that would explain the catastrophic destruction of a landmass.
Because it's not just the mid-Atlantic ridge. The Azores are specifically on the intersection of 3 tectonic plates.
Yeah.
3. The African plate, the North American plate, and the European plate.
Yeah.
That is a lot of geological activity, especially because all 3 of those plates are moving away from each other. And the thing that causes new land is when plates move away from each other, and the hot magma from the mantle leaks out into the top and then hardens, which is what we call volcanoes, but is really just the formation of new land on a geological scale.
Yeah. So I went to the island Terceta. That's where my family comes from. When I was like maybe 11 or 12. And I remember like a lot of, they don't really have like sandy beaches. It's like rock beaches, but they're like, they have natural pools. It's kind of cool. Like I remember swimming in one of them. They had like, the rocks like made a natural pool off the shore. They had these like, you know how like in a swimming pool, they have the little like stairs, the like little metal like steps to get into the pool.
Yeah.
They had those like built into the rock because people would just like swim in them like it was a pool. And like they had like fish and like crabs swimming in the pool with you. There was like a big cliff like off in the distance you could like dive into the actual ocean in. The water's super warm, but like it's entirely just like volcanic rock. And they have like, at least on my island, they have like caves, like volcanic caves you can do tours inside of. It's really cool.
It sounds amazing.
They're really trippy too because like when I describe it, people are like, oh, it's tropical. And I'm like, kind of. Not really.
It's a little too far north to be tropical.
But parts of it are. So like São Miguel is another island. It's like pretty tropical there. Like it's kind of a mix of like all different weather types. It's a really trippy place. It's one of the strangest places. I mean, I haven't traveled outside of the US much,
in a while.
But like, yeah, I mean, it felt like being in 8 different countries at once almost. Because the weather will change like a billion times a day too. Like it might be like kind of rainy and gloomy and you feel like you're in Europe, and then it's like super sunny and humid and bright. And then you feel like you're on a tropical island, and like, you know, it's a trip out there. But so the Azores were discovered by Portuguese settlers in 1427. São Miguel and Santa Maria were the first that were inhabited of the 9 islands. And São Miguel is the largest island and the most populated. Terceta is the second most populated.
What's the population?
I'm not 100% sure of the numbers for São Miguel, but I know there's, I believe, like 60,000 people on Terceta.
Okay.
Yeah, like 59,000 or 60,000, something along those lines. But the majority of settlers there were Portuguese, but there were also French, Flanders, and North Africans that settled there as well.
Makes sense. It's a really nice like stopping point. If you're going to try to traverse the Atlantic Ocean, there's not a lot of stopping places, but it's sort of like smack in the middle.
Yeah, so that was a big reason the Portuguese settled there, because they were like traveling all over the place. And so they
Big
were like,
seafaring people.
yes, yeah, they were, going around being colonizers or whatever.
Yeah.
And they sent people out there because they were like, there are these islands. It would be a good stopping point for all of the ships to get like water and resources on their travels to like West Africa, the Americas, wherever else they were going. And then there was also like good soil for agriculture. They have like a lot of fishermen out there.
Freshest soil there is.
Yeah, so it helped the Portuguese with resources. But the Azores are technically their own country. They have their own flag and everything, but they're a territory of Portugal. Oh, and then there are rumors that Vikings had discovered the islands first and temporarily settled there and then left.
I mean, Vikings don't really settle.
Yeah, they are kind of nomadic.
That's kind of the whole thing, is they like conquer places, hang out there for a while,
And then dip out.
then go conquer another place when there's nothing left. That's like their whole thing.
That is true. That is their whole thing. But the theory, it's a theory because, so they say that because I guess the mice on the island have DNA you can trace back to Northern Europe. There are other like scientists and biologists that are like, yeah, but those mice could have been already in Portugal. Like maybe the Vikings had been in Portugal at some point, or like those, like
absolutely.
something
Yeah.
like that. And then they ended up on the ships from Portugal to the Azores.
Do we know, has anyone checked if the Portuguese mice have that DNA?
I mean, you know what? I don't know.
I would guess that probably, because like
Probably. Well, all of Europe, it's so easy for them to travel across countries. It's like the U.S. is like a further drive to get from state to state than most European countries. So
ships that were going from place to place, and
yeah,
they would all bring mice.
and then Spain and
Every boat
Portugal
had
is right
mice.
next to like Africa, and like there's just a lot of travel that happened between all of those countries. So it's like it's entirely possible that they just ended up in Portugal and then they ended up on those ships, and that's where they made that connection. It might not be true. It hasn't been verified. So back to Plato describing where the islands, or where Atlantis was located, that based on his writings and other philosophers' writings, the theory is that the Azores were Atlantis, and an earthquake or, volcano erupted, and it
Probably
sunk
both.
most of the, probably a lot of that happened.
Yeah.
And they sunk into the sea, and there were just those tiny islands left. There's other theories of Atlantis being located in other places as well, but I guess the Azores are one of the most like popular theories.
Yeah, it's like either somewhere in like off of South America, maybe in the Caribbean area. There's also a theory that it was in the Mediterranean, like north of Crete. There was an island that around the time that the Egyptians were describing that it was destroyed, we know from a geological perspective and from historical perspectives that there was a civilization there that was entirely wiped out. But that also wouldn't fit the beyond the stones of Heracles, so the pillars of Heracles that Plato talked about.
Yeah.
But we also don't know how much Plato was making shit up.
Well, it sounds like he liked making up a lot of bullshit, so.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was literally fanfic.
Yeah.
And there's another theory. Some people are very convinced, but it's less people, that it was Antarctica.
Yeah, I've heard that the North Pole is the other theory, that it was like...
No, not the North Pole. The South Pole.
Oh.
Antarctica. Oh. Because the Polynesian people have a long written, or not written history, but like a oral history that they traveled down there like 1,000 years before white people discovered it.
Yeah.
And had been going there, and then like maybe set up camp there, because maybe it went through a phase during a warmer period in our history where it wasn't completely covered in snow all of the time. And honestly, most of Antarctica isn't covered in snow. Like, Antarctica is a desert. So like the parts on the edges are covered in snow and ice, but like the inland part is just like barren rock.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, you can look up pictures of like central Antarctica, and it's just like a really, really empty, barren, flat desert.
I'm like imagining Mars.
I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably a different color, but
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Still.
basically like that. Yeah, and so like we don't. There's no evidence on Antarctica that there was a civilization there.
So that's the other thing about the Azores. There are caves that have since been like closed up so it wouldn't get destroyed by like climate and everything, but they found caves of like just remains of like items that humans would have. They found like writings inside of this cave that imply that humans had lived there, like items that imply humans were there, like, you know, spears, things like that, that are not traced back to the Portuguese that settled there. It's like there were people there like years before.
Do they know if those were Viking items?
I don't think that they were,
Okay.
because I know they've had like professional like archaeologists and stuff look at it, and from what
I didn't see anything about that as I was looking it up, and most of the sources I was reading didn't mention that at all.
I know that the Portuguese government around 2010 decided to have their archaeologists look into it.
Yeah, we just paused this and
to look up the information.
read an article from
Yes.
2016 about the discovery of these artifacts and the fact that basically the whole scientific community was like, we refuse to believe this. And then this one woman who was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's real.
Yeah.
Let me please look into it. And the government like slowly coming around to maybe supporting her in her search.
Yes. Typical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to believe the smart woman over a large community of male scholars who refuse to believe in that any other civilization could have existed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there were artifacts, there were carvings into the walls. It looked like they'd formed like a calendar system
And a map system.
Yeah, and it specifically said something about like slits in the walls of caves.
Yes.
That faced every direction except east.
Yes.
Which,
And the closer to east it got, the smaller the slits got.
yeah. So like east is the direction the sun rises. So I can think of many reasons you might want to block, like not let in as much sunlight
When the sun is rising.
when the sun is rising, especially if all that's over there is water.
Yeah.
Like a sunrise would be blinding.
Yeah.
You know,
It's reflecting off of the water.
Not necessarily how you want to start your day. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no, I can't see anything. So like, if you knew the sun was going to come up in that place every day, you'd be like, well, let's just like cut smaller holes, and we'll still get enough light.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be reflecting off the ocean. You know, so. Yeah, it looks like there was definitely a civilization there. And I just looked at a topographical map of that area. And there are definitely some like large formations in the ocean floor in that area that could have easily been a much larger island long ago that sort of a large enough earthquake sort of shook it and toppled the top part over, and then it would have just sort of rolled to the bottom of the ocean, and we wouldn't necessarily know that it was there, especially if thousands of years passed and it sort of reconstituted itself with the ocean floor, or fell directly into the mid-Atlantic ridge, where it would have been swallowed up by literally volcano.
Yeah.
By molten rock and just become a part of the seafloor. And the topography in that area is crazy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I absolutely buy it.
There was definitely a larger landmass there at some point. Like,
And the theory was that it might have been the Phoenician people who were Semitic people. But that was going to be like the question I wanted to end this on was like, okay, so let's assume there was an Atlantis. And let's assume there were people there. I don't know that I necessarily agree with Plato's assertion that they were like a massive colonizing force. Like that feels like sort of a boogeyman that he would have made up to fit his fanfic.
Yeah.
Of like the greatest force in the world and we dominated it because we are the best.
Well, his entire story was made up in the first place.
Exactly.
So it's like he's just saying shit, you know?
And I don't know if the Egyptian stories that he was told is where he got that they were like dominating other cultures and like traveling through the Mediterranean and colonizing everything. If that is true, it makes me think that they were Vikings.
Yeah, that sounds more like a Viking type thing. Yeah.
If that isn't true, it makes me think it might have been the Phoenicians. It honestly could have been like a North African seafaring tribe that, white people like to pretend didn't happen.
Yeah.
The
more I've looked into the history of this too, the more I'm like, oh, I feel like North Africa was also going out and like doing the same shit.
Of course they were.
Lied about and buried in history.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how much African history do we know in the United States?
Yeah.
Like they don't teach it. We do a unit on like Egypt, maybe.
Yeah. And
like,
the Egyptians are all white with blue eyes.
Yeah. And we still, like, I guarantee you most of the people I went to high school with just think Africa is a country.
No,
like people literally always say like, "Oh, I went to Africa," and it's like, fucking where in Africa?
Yeah,
there's like a million places in Africa.
Yeah, like
it's
which
bigger
country?
than North America.
Yeah, no, I've met people that don't understand that Africa's not a country; it's a continent.
Yeah, it's many countries, many very different countries. With,
yeah,
like some of them are on the equator, some of them are almost at the South Pole. Do you think they're gonna have the same culture, customs, history? Like, relax.
It's diverse. They speak different languages there. They have large cities that are beautiful. Yeah, they want you to think of Africa as one thing to uphold racism, essentially.
And the fact that Plato heard about this civilization from the Egyptians makes me think it was probably an African people.
Honestly, that's what I think too, because even like when people settled there were a lot of people from Africa that also came over to settle there, as well as France, which probably would have come from Africa because there's a lot of French influence in Africa.
Yeah.
We like to just like cut black people out of everything.
Yeah.
So
it also very well could have been the Phoenicians, because Egypt would have known about them too, because the Middle East and like Jerusalem at the time was right there.
Yeah.
And the Jewish people were being chased out of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like around the time they're talking about this kind of stuff happening, just literally everywhere. They were just hated. Everybody hated them. So they just were super nomadic and kept trying to find places to live. And if they managed to get on a boat and sail through the Mediterranean, they would have found those islands and maybe just set up shop for a while and been like, we'll hide out here and maybe we'll try to go back later, or who knows. Yeah. And that other thing the article was saying was that like the theory is that maybe there was a very ancient trade route between Atlantis and North and South America.
Yeah.
And white people like to pretend that nobody could have possibly known about North and South America until Christopher Columbus discovered it in 1492.
People definitely knew about it.
Of course they did. And like the other part of the theory was that the people who lived on that island were telling people that there was simply no way to cross the ocean because they were trying to maintain a monopoly.
Yes.
And if the part of that Plato said was true, that they were like a really wealthy country and that they were going around and they had all these like fanciful, mystical, amazing goods, like that makes sense if they're getting those things from North and South America and from the Caribbean. And it would also explain why the Native Americans accepted white people, like European colonizers, when they showed up, if they were already used to
them just kind of
like,
showing up.
Sometimes people show up. They're from another place. And when they get here, and then we trade with them and they leave, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the times, it just so happened that the people were like, well, we're not going to leave. And
it was the
fact,
shittiest of white people showed up, and they just weren't expecting it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your help. We're going to kill you now.
Yeah.
But if they were used to seeing like Jewish travelers or African travelers or people who weren't the typical European settler type people, they would have been like, oh, cool, like oversea people.
Yeah.
And then maybe been horrified that they were white, like, what's wrong with their skin? They're so sick.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like,
And then they got them all sick because they brought diseases that their bodies couldn't handle.
Yeah. They genuinely were sick.
And then they were giving them alcohol that their bodies couldn't handle genetically because they'd never had it. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe that's why we're so white. Maybe we're just sick and we don't even know it.
No, honestly, it makes a lot of sense that the Azores used to be Atlantis.
It does.
And that maybe those islands used to be bigger. Mm-hmm. And even if they didn't, because, Plato said that the islands were like the size of Turkey, which is like slightly bigger than California.
And they are they're smaller than Hawaii now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they were definitely larger.
Geologically speaking, it's hard to imagine a landmass that size just sinking into the ocean, but it's possible.
Especially with all the earthquakes and volcanic eruptions that happen in that area, because it's pretty common out there. So.
Yeah. And they're already saying that when the big one comes to the San Andreas Fault, that everything west of the 5 across basically the entire country of the United States will just fall into the ocean.
So we're fucked.
Yeah.
Damn.
Tons of people would be fucked if everything west of the 5 freeway going the entire length of from north to south of the United States fell into the ocean at the same time.
We'd be fucked. I don't claim this energy because
No.
we live here. We gotta move to Silver Lake.
The thing is, it's probably gonna happen at some point.
Yeah.
Probably not in our lifetime,
Yeah.
but it's inevitable at some point. On a
I don't want to put that
geological,
energy out with the way things have unfolded in the last 10 years.
on a
I don't claim
geologic,
this negative energy.
on a geologic scale, at some point it will happen. It could be another million years.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be another million years.
Let's hope, because shit's been crazy
Yeah.
the last 10.
But our whole continent is moving that direction.
Yeah.
And the faults are crushing each other, and they're building up and they're building up and they're building up. And this one takes over. This one's going to eventually. But thus far, we're not seeing that kind of buildup. We have little earthquakes all the time.
Yeah, every
which
time
is
we
the
have a
release
small
of-
one.
Yeah,
Because I sleep through them, or I'm in the shower and I don't notice. I don't know why. But every time we have one, I'm like, oh, cool. It's letting loose,
Yeah.
It's getting some of it out of its system so it doesn't happen all at once,
But from now on, I'm headcanoning that the Azores are Atlantis.
Me too. And it kind of I was looking into the history of it too. And it kind of made me proud that that's where my family comes from and everything. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
There was this comedian.
But y'all were the latecomers.
Yeah, I know.
You weren't the cool early Atlanteans.
I know.
You were
we were late to the party.
You were the Portuguese colonizers who showed up and were like, wow, thank you for setting up this place for us to be so nice. We will take it.
At least we didn't kill everybody that
That's
was on
true.
there because there
That's
was no one there.
They were already dead.
At least I can say my lineage didn't kill a bunch of people when they colonized. They
Yeah.
were just oh, this thing that no one lives on, let's do it.
Yeah.
There's this comedian who's Portuguese, and he has I forget his name. Fuck. Maybe I'll look it up and you can just edit it onto the screen in text or something. I forget the guy's name. But he has this little bit where he's talking about being Portuguese, and there's somebody in the audience that is also Portuguese, and he's mainland or Azores, and someone's what do you mean? And he's so there's the Azore Islands, they're its own country, but it's a territory of Portugal. And he was the way we say it, it's basically mainland is bougie, royalty, high class, snobby, we go to other countries and we steal all of the spices and then the Azores are a bunch of ratchet fucking farmers and fishermen, and they're we know how to cook with the spices, it's just kind of knowing the history makes me feel oh, that's cool that I came from that, I guess.
Yeah. The ratchet ass Portuguese.
The ratchet Portuguese people.
Yeah.
The fucking my family, my dad and my vavo would tell me this all the time. I guess our family had I guess all the families on Terceira have a nickname associated with their family, and ours is Kagaunj, which loosely translates to shit or shithead. I'm yeah, that checks out.
Wow. Love that.
This bloodline ends with me. But
Yeah, I feel this might be one of our shortest episodes, but I don't know that. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up? I feel we solved it. I feel we know where Atlantis was.
yeah, I feel that's how I felt when I started looking into it. I'm I feel I want to believe this is where it was.
Yeah.
Maybe my crazy hippie crystal mom wasn't wrong about us having past lives in Atlantis. I mean, she's not Portuguese, so she's just delusional. But
She's
like
full of
I
crap.
am.
Yeah. My roommate's an Atlantean.
I know, right? I'm gonna come out with the
I
fucking
mean, you're not.
platinum white lace front wig like from the movie.
You're like a post-Atlantean.
I'm a post-Atlantean.
You're Atlantean 2.
Atlantean too.
Yeah, because like there was Atlantis, and then it fell into the ocean, and then people showed up again.
I'm Atlantean Junior.
You're Atlantean the second.
The second. I'm gonna come out of my room with blue contacts and like a platinum white
You're gonna
lace
look
front
like
wig and that little fucking outfit the bitch in the cartoon wears. I'm gonna
so
be like,
in the cartoon, they're positing that it's like South America, right?
I don't remember. I watched that movie when I was a kid, so I really
Or
don't
am
know.
I mixing it up with El Dorado?
You might be. That's
I'm
El Dorado.
I'm
we should
remembering
watch
that
that one
girl.
too. I love El Dorado. Dude, they were all hot too. That movie was bisexual coded too, because like both the dudes were fine as fuck. The girl was
And they were
fine as
definitely
fuck.
banging.
They were all trying to bang each
Yeah.
other. They were in a weird
There's
little
no
like,
way those dudes weren't banging.
yeah, they were so bisexual.
Yeah, they were super gay.
And that girl was totally into it, and I feel that.
She was like, we all do it?
yeah.
Like,
Yep. Was that a Disney movie?
no, that was DreamWorks.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
I feel like all the
Which
kids'
means it was
movies.
Steven Spielberg,
Okay.
because DreamWorks is his company.
I did not know that.
There's a whole fascinating story there.
You're an encyclopedia for film, you know that.
I do know that.
I've never met somebody
Yeah.
that knows as much about film as you do.
I
So
am obsessed with it. It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite things in the world.
it is.
Once I die, all film knowledge dies because Gen Z doesn't care about movies at all.
Oh no.
No, that's not true. There's like a couple. There's like a couple Gen Z like influencer movie people who are like doing their best to get Gen Z to care about movies.
I'm sure once the film industry like becomes a thing again, because it's like ever since
It's gonna
COVID,
have to evolve. It's just gonna.
it's gonna have to evolve, which is
Because
okay.
Gen
it
Z
needs to.
watches content.
Yeah.
They just don't watch movies.
yeah.
Like I literally was sitting with a student the other day. We were learning about the Titanic. We like briefly talked about the Titanic, and she was like, "Ugh, I want to watch that movie, but it's like 3 hours."
They're used to like a 2-minute video on TikTok they
And
can
all,
scroll
but
past.
also, and I was like, "But wait, don't you watch Wednesday?" And she was like, "Oh, I love Wednesday." And I was like, "That's 20 hours."
Yeah, and it's funny too because as somebody who likes to binge watch TV shows, I'll like stay up. You've seen me stay up for a
Yeah.
week watching a show. I'll like get 12 hours in one day. I go to sleep. I wake up. I have my breakfast. I fucking watch another 12 hours of that show.
Yeah.
And I know the Gen Z kids are fucking doing it,
Absolutely.
but they can't watch 2 VHS tapes back to back.
I mean, they don't know what a VHS tape is. It
Lame.
it all fits on one Blu-ray.
Whatever. I had it on a VHS
I did
tape,
too.
a VHS
I did.
tape,
I also did.
and I think that's the only way to watch the Titanic for some reason.
52 minutes into tape 1, you could see some boobs.
Yes, you could.
There was just
My
enough time
mom-
when my mom went to the grocery store to fast forward to minute
My
52.
mom would freak out about that scene too. Like I would watch that movie. She didn't care that people were like fucking dying in it, but once they were like getting it on in the car, my mom was like, "You can't watch this," and she'd like fast forward it because it was a
Yeah.
VHS tape.
Yeah.
That's part of
Yeah,
the
that is
nostalgia.
Yep. And you'd be like, "I have boobs."
Yeah, well, I didn't have boobs yet, but yeah, you know, at one point when I was old enough and I did have boobs and I would be home alone, I would put it on like, what the fuck is she tripping about? I'd be like, oh, titties, yes.
Did I ever tell you that I wasn't allowed to watch tape 1? I could only watch tape 2.
What?
So
That must have been confusing.
until I was like,
Why? The whole tape 1, your mom couldn't just fast forward through the part she didn't want you to see, or
because she knew if she said I could watch it, that I would watch it when she wasn't there, and then she couldn't fast forward through the part that she didn't want me to see. And
That's
tape 1 is
insane.
all like romance, love, sex, all the things she didn't want me exposed to. But she apparently was fine with me watching 1,000 people die.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Incredibly gruesome ways. Remember when the guy falls on the propeller?
oh yeah, oh my god.
So literally, to me, and I swear this shaped my politics, to me that movie was a 90-minute film about rich people dying.
Oh my God!
Because they're stupid. And it was, I swear it shaped me into the person that I am. Because
Instructions unclear, fuck capitalism.
and I literally would just watch tape 2, like, a lot. because it was really well made. Like the whole thing is an action scene where like the ship is sinking and the water's coming up and people are dying and falling off the boat. I watched that all the time. I loved tape 2 of the Titanic, and I had no idea what happened in tape 1.
We should have a party where we only watch tape 2 sometimes.
Just start right after they hit the iceberg.
I'll get a VHS player and everything.
Yeah, it was one of the strangest things that my mom had about my childhood, you know?
My mom was controlling too, but there were just certain things where, like, I think it's the religious aspect that my mom didn't have that yours did that made them really crazy. But, like, my mom was controlling and cared, but also, like, I would sneak around. But she didn't, and I think she kind of knew it would happen, and she'd still, when she caught me, punish me for it, but, like, she wasn't, like preventing me from sneaking around. She wasn't, like, you know, she had her own shit going on.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, congratulations on knowing where Atlantis is.
Yes, and learning about the Azores that you probably haven't heard of.
The Azores, which
Yeah.
is like a cool-ass place.
It's a trip, too, because I've told people my family's from the Azores, and they think I'm making it up, and I'm like, go on a map right now and look it up.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is a real place? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's
mean,
where my great-grandparents
You
immigrated
literally suggested, like, doing an episode about the Azores, and I was like, the what? Like,
I'm like, where my family is from.
but you ain't never said that. You just said you're Portuguese, so I just assumed
I thought I'd mentioned that my family was from islands.
Nah.
Okay, well, now you know.
Yeah, it was, you know, several years into our friendship before I learned the word Azor.
Remember the Island Boys on TikTok, those twins from Florida with the face tattoos? And they're like, Island Boy, I'm an Island Boy. That's me. Island Boy.
You are an island boy,
I am. And an island girl.
and I'm an igloo chick.
An igloo chick.
Yeah.
What?
In Wisconsin,
Oh, that's right. You're from Antarctica or whatever.
I'm not from Antarctica. That's the
cold as
other
fuck up there.
possible location of Atlantis. It's closer to the Arctic than Antarctica.
Okay, well, it's
But
cold
it was
as fuck up
cold.
there.
We built igloos. And you know what's cool about an igloo? It's really, really hot inside. Mm-hmm. It once there's people in there, it traps
body heat.
It traps the heat.
Yeah,
It's
that
trapped.
makes sense. Yeah.
And then it like melts the walls into ice so that it's perfectly insulated. You go outside, it's freezing. You go inside, you're like, I'm sweating. What the heck?
Oh, hell yeah.
No fire. You don't need a fire. You just need to be there.
Oh, that's dope.
It's incredible. It was one of my favorite things I ever did in my whole life. Was
Wait, you
building
had-
igloos in
you
Wisconsin.
built an igloo?
I built, yes.
That's a thing?
That's why I'm an igloo chick, because I built them.
Oh, so your mom had you doing cultural appropriation too?
I mean, I guess technically it was like
Because
I
that's
did
the
it.
Inuit
I did. It
people.
wasn't my mom. I was doing it with the Boy Scouts.
It's okay. It wasn't
Like
your
we
mom,
went,
but still.
yeah, it was like the neighborhood dads, you know.
There's more white people in Wisconsin than in Central California.
I think the only thing I ever did with the Boy Scouts that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And it was because like everyone explained how to build an igloo, and then I went off and I made one, and then I went in it and I avoided everybody.
I feel you.
I was like, y'all do whatever you're gonna do. I'm gonna just be in here. It's great.
You poor thing.
Oh, I made it just too small for more than me in here. Oh well. Okay, bye.
I feel like if I had to join the Boy Scouts, I would have done the same thing. So I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in.
Happy to present information to you always.
Yes. Learning random things.
Send us an email.
Yeah.
Lady
Send us
in
an
the
email.
Trans pod.
Lady in the Trans podcast.
at gmail.com. If you want to call us stupid, or you can just do that on TikTok. That's where everybody does it.
Yeah.
Every time I post
It's
anything on
usually
TikTok,
bots,
yeah,
but-
it is usually bots.
Yeah. If you're not a bot and you want to talk shit, hit our email
Yeah.
and we'll ignore you.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
my
we'll
favorite
read.
thing.
Maybe we'll read. We'll do an episode where we read hate emails.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
start sending us hate emails. We'll like gather them for an episode.
I'll post just this clip on TikTok. We'll get some emails.
Oh yeah, you're
You know?
right.
Whew.
Especially
out
now
there.
that the community guidelines are changing. I bet we're gonna get a like influx of shitty people.
Oh yeah, I can't
And
wait.
bots. More
I
bots.
can't wait. I love bots. Nom 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 nom.
Nom 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 nom.
Feed me your
Feed me
hate.
bots.
Feed me bot hate.
I ate bots for breakfast.
All right. Anyway, for real,
I'm Lady,
I'm Chloe,
and I'm Laura,
and I'm
the
trans.
Atlantean. Bye.
Lady and the Trans podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science.